Hi, I'm Ann Michels, and I thought I would just give you a brief summary of the request for proposal that Green Pastures Living submitted to the Village of Oregon. And I'm just going to follow some of the things that was in the proposal. And first was just what was our vision? And so I'd love to just read this with you. Imagine entering the People's Park, the heart and lungs of Oregon, taking a deep breath on your serene walk back to the preserved trees where you would find our senior housing community scattered among the green space. This innovative collaborative project celebrates Oregon's commitment to its value citizens, taking inspiration from its mighty oaks. Longtime residents can remain rooted here and thrive among our community because they have safe, simple housing to age in place. The natural beauty of the land is enhanced by walking paths, garden, and a bicycle repair station in honor of the Bikes to Africa program that started right there on that property. So once again, this site can serve the Oregon community. And so Green Pastures Living hope is to really do something in Oregon that is lacking, and that is middle-class senior housing. We've had a lot of rentals and we've had a lot of high-end housing. But we think if we don't courageously take on this task, we doubt no one else will, because developers really are not developing for the middle class senior, which makes up a lot of Oregon's residents. We think through this public-private venture, we combine all of our tools in order to successfully create a supported housing for this Oregon community. And if we don't, well, it may increase isolation and deterioration among the residents and put a strain on Oregon's community emergency services like EMS and police, as well as other personal devastating things. So our proposed housing would set a proactive approach and demonstrate a new set of best practices for future small towns to follow to meet their senior housing needs, because need is great everywhere. So I'll just go over this proposal. And it's really in answer to the people of Oregon searching the best use of this North Main property. And we feel that we have the opportunity to find this, as well as address the challenges of this site. Green Pastures Living has taken into consider all the factors, especially our ever-growing population, our senior population, that's growing at 10,000 people each day over 65. Some of the goals of the village was to dedicate a portion as the public park, preserving those mature trees, considering the stormwater challenges, as well as providing affordable housing, and recouping some of the village's property investment. And we feel like our proposal does all 5 things. We hope to collaboratively partner with the Village of Oregon to successfully activate this North Main property in order to meet the community's comprehensive goals in developing independent housing units. So our senior residents have an affordable place to age in their community they've always been familiar in, as well as giving the community and our residents access to a passive park. Here you can kind of see an illustration of how we would divide up this land. In the back portion that connects to Johnson Street, Green Pastures Living would purchase this property and develop 6 duplexes that would be for middle-class seniors. The orange portion the village would retain, which would be parking access as well as walking paths to the mature trees. And in our partnership with the Wisconsin Partnership of Housing Development, they would develop 2 duplexes for lower income houses where seniors could purchase, where they could have the ability to purchase those in using grants and things like to make it more affordable. So here's just a list of some of our partners. So Green Pastures Living would be the key contact and collaborator, that's me. Working with the Wisconsin Partnership for Housing Development. They've been active in our state for over 30 years, as well as some great advisors in the community. Really fortunate to have Zimmerman Architectural draw up our proposal site. And we hope to have some great local builders and lenders with our project. So just to go over some past projects with the Wisconsin Partnership of Housing, these are some of their current works where they have partnered over Wisconsin to do many different types of affordable housing, including Habitat for Humanity right here in Dane County, as well as working with the Madison Area Community Land Trust, which I've also partnered with as well. And also in our proposal, we've also highlighted some great Wisconsin examples of affordable housing that we plan to learn from and replicate in our senior housing developments. Community Action Program, they are in central Wisconsin. They have these great small scale senior housing in central Wisconsin. And they're a little different in some ways as they're outside of Dane County. And they're not duplexes, but they're small cottages. But a great learning example for us. And our second example is right here in Oregon. Not sure if you know that we have a senior housing cooperative, which is actually pretty unique for our area. And I love these houses, and they are very popular, as in over 100 people are on their waiting list because it is a great affordable options for a middle-class senior who wants to have just a simple, safe, accessible housing option for their retired years. And it'd be a little different because we wouldn't be a cooperative. But similarly, wouldn't have basements. We would have a similar financial model as in the life lease and similar square footage and layout. The cost would be a little more just because we have to meet the higher inflation and construction costs, but really still in line with what a middle-class senior could afford compared to what a new construction, for example, in Fitchburg, the new Cessna Senior Complex is priced at $473,000 for same square feet and over $3,000 monthly costs. So we are just working hard with all of our partners to lower those costs so it's more reasonable for seniors to afford. A little bit more about Green Pastures Living. Key contact is me and Michels, executive director and founder. We've been established as a non-stock corporation since 2019 with the state of Wisconsin, and we've been a nonprofit since 2021. We've raised already some foundational fundraising of $35,000 as we have done 2 capital campaigns so far and plan to continue to do them ongoing. We offer safe, simple senior housing in rural communities, ensuring that seniors can remain rooted in familiar settings with trusted guidance and provision through the aging process. Some inspiring words is from Bob Kramer, the founder of the National Investment Corps, where it says these middle-income seniors are really the forgotten group because they don't have advocacy behind them, because they're really not wealthy enough to attract the interests of developers and investors. And that really gives us words to inspire us to take up that torch and be that advocate for those seniors who don't have anyone advocating for them. But we recognize the huge need because we really don't have any small scale senior housing here. But I'm confident that Oregon can be the first and be a trendsetter for more small Wisconsin communities to follow. Here is just a brief level of investment in financial viability through our program. Maybe a $5.5 million project that would greatly enhance the property, and the Village of Oregon can retain a portion of it to be a passive park, as well as gain an increased tax base with these new housing units. Obviously, we're going to have to work with a multiple sources of funding, including some home funds through the county, as well as TIF financing, traditional financing, as well as gaining some individual investors. We plan to purchase a portion of the property. And here are just some numbers that, how much we're asking in TIF money, as well as our projected construction costs and other sources for funding. In our scope of work, this is kind of how we have divided up the plan using the current zoning of duplexes, but we are open to any other multifamily housing if the village so desires. But our 12 units would be about 1.6 acres of the back lot, as well as the 4 units would be about 0.3 acres. The passive park would be about 2,100 square feet, 21,000 square feet, with some parking access. Our duplexes would be approximately 1,100 square feet, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage, giving them plenty of room to have 2 cars as they remain independent. We would scatter those buildings as to minimize that stormwater runoff. Excitingly, we are looking at the possibility of adding solar power to these roofs to keep them also efficient and affordable, long going, as well as seeing if we can innovatively figure out how to construct them. Some of the other aspects of the public park would be the green space. So we'd either have a retention pond or rain garden planned, as well as having a community room where people can meet. And having, as I'd mentioned, bike path and bike repair spots in the park. And just a general timeline of our proposal is hopefully the village can finalize and see who wins the bid. And from there, we would start working on applying for our grant money, as well as getting the engineering plan finalized. And then from there, working on breaking ground and preparing the property for housing, as well as gaining the resident contracts and finalizing the housing and move-in and landscaping. And just to show you the original version of the architect's Barry Wang of Zimmerman. This is the original. All the other ones have done for illustration purposes. And so now I go into the appendix of just talking about our organization and our partnering organizations. So I'm Ann Michels, founder and executive director and the key staff contact. I've lived in the village for the past 11 years and have been involved in the community. I'm very passionate about serving this community in many different ways, and really hope for the best for our residents. And I've done some really great opportunities in preparing how we serve not only our seniors, but our community. Green Pastures Living has 4 board members. I'm the president. My husband, Scott, is the treasurer. Jen Magdak is a secretary, and Kelly Outhouse is another board member. All people who have been passionate about serving our Oregon community. The Wisconsin Partnership for Housing Development's executive director, Todd Bandel, has served as the executive director and has more than 17 years of experience in the government and nonprofit sector. done some really great things, and I'm excited for us to partner with him. Just so this partnership has the history that it was created from Governor Tony Earl back in 1985. And since then has consulted over 900 homes. So a great proven track record in doing affordable housing. So they're great at collaborating, and we're hopeful to add to their great history. Zimmerman is out of Milwaukee. And I'm going to scroll to Barry. So he is a senior planner who has drawn up our initial plans, as well as has some great experience doing other senior buildings. You can see here that he has a degree in senior living facilities and have done some great architectural work for our state. And then along with that is they have their own civil engineer manager and landscape architect. Also, Christopher Laurent is also someone who is from Oregon and has helped advise Green Pastures Living in our proposal. He is the president of Snare Solutions, and they are also great developers of low-income and workforce housing. One of their great projects is workforce housing in Darlington. And I'll just wrap up our proposal with some letters of recommendation. And so Green Pastures Living has been working with community action programs, and one of our first letters is from the president, Andy Height, giving his recommendation of our housing program, seeing our proposal, as well as a leader in the industry of local realty is Troy Thiel, who has helped me in our proposal and advocating for the median housing that we are so advocate about. Our board member, Kelly Outhouse, is giving her letter of recommendation as a field medical. And one of our seniors who lives at Rolling Meadows also wrote a letter of support for our Green Pastures housing. And so with that, I hope that has given you some idea on what we are proposing to the Village of Oregon in the North Main property. We are excited for what's to come and how the village decides what is best for that property. We just hope that we can continue serving Oregon and have our residents remain rooted in rural living.